Mic check. Oh goodness, sorry for the late start. Happy Monday, everybody. I just I couldn't get it going this morning. I was a little late. My daughter was out of town, so I was catching up with her. Got a late start on the gym, late start on getting her out the door for school today. It was just a late start. That's my bad. Good to see you guys. I missed you all greatly since Friday. Sorry for the abrupt ending on Friday. We had a nasty storm and lightning struck a tree across the street from me and knocked out our power momentarily. So if you were here on Friday and there was during Friendly Friday and there was an abrupt end, that's all that happened. We just my power was out for like 20 seconds, but it reset everything. We did finish Friendly Friday over on Discord, so make sure in the future to make sure that doesn't happen to you, just make sure you're in Discord, and we'll continue Friendly Friday over there. You like the hat? Thank you. I found this hat recently again. I thought I had lost this hat. Um, also, tonight, we have a members only event. I'll try and keep reminding you, but if you're not a paid subscriber either on TikTok, YouTube, or Twitch, make sure that you are by the end of the show today, and you can join us for the members only event tonight. We'll be watching episode 2 of The Altar, where we are going to watch a dating show, a Mormon, Jesus, weird day for a Mormon dating show. We're still going to make fun of the Mormons, but so cringeworthy that they have to edit out the word sex. So there you go. Europe won. Yeah, Europe won the Ryder Cup. And I'm not somebody who roots against my country, but I will say that that was about as American Ryder Cup as I've ever seen. The fans were horrific. I think somebody tried to throw a can at Rory McIlroy and hit his wife instead. Honestly, I didn't care at all. I didn't care that the Americans lost. I was so embarrassed. There was one real cool part when on Friday the Americans were down in like every match, except for I think 2. And then Air Force One flew over and they interviewed Keegan Bradley, who's our captain. And he's like, I have a feeling things are going to change. And then everything just went to shit right after that. So Trump didn't help out there either, which was good. I'm glad that Trump didn't help out there. But there you go. 49ers lost. Fuck Florida, the whole state, the whole goddamn state of Florida. I think the last time the 49ers lost to the Jaguars, it was I think it was 2005. It's like 20 years ago. So that sucked. Thank you all for the kind messages about the 49ers yesterday. I got a lot of DMs and mentions on other social media apps about the 49ers losing. So thank you for that. That made my day so much better. It was straight out of Happy Gilmore at the Ryder Cup. Yeah, dude, it was crazy. It was cool. What a great ending. If you like golf, it was a great ending. United States made an incredible comeback and almost pulled it off. And I also thought it was just like ironic that Shane Lowry was the winner. That he put in the final putt. Hi, Sinners and Hat Boy. Good to see you. Your Dogs lost to Bama again. Oh, that's right. Roll Tide. Sorry about that, Dogs. Anyways, I hope you guys are all licking your wounds from your sports losses this week. And if you won, fuck you. I want to jump right into it. We're going to talk about fascism, but first I want to show you this AI-generated video that Trump shared. Just so we're clear, this is Lara Trump, it is Donald Trump, but this is all AI-generated. And Trump shared this. Like, this wasn't something that we came across and was like, that's weird. Trump shared this for some reason on his True Social. It's now been deleted, but I have a theory on why he shared this, and I'll tell you when it's done.
Breaking now. President Donald J. Trump has announced a historic new healthcare system, the launch of America's first medbed hospitals and a national medbed card for every citizen.
Every American will soon receive their own medbed card. With it, you'll have guaranteed access to our new hospitals led by the top doctors in the nation, equipped with the most advanced technology in the world. These facilities are safe, modern, and designed to restore every citizen to full health and strength. This is the beginning of a new era in American healthcare.
In this first phase, only a limited number of medbed cards will be released. Registration details will be announced very soon. Breaking.
No, it didn't get on to Fox News. They just made this is a fake Fox News broadcast. That's what this is. I have some theories. Number one, if you're not familiar with medbed hospitals, it's because you're not a psycho and you didn't follow QAnon during COVID. Let me adjust that light. Oof. Can I turn that shit down ever? There we go. I'm just gonna look white as shit today. Medbed hospitals were this idea that was floated amongst QAnoners, and it was these hospitals that like healed everything. That you would get in these med beds that are an actual like. If let's see, I'm guessing this was like a QAnon. They would look like this, like these incubators that basically fix everything. There you go. That's a better look. Two reasons Trump I think could have shared this. Three. One, he's just a fucking idiot and he forgot that this wasn't real. Like he's lost his mind and he wasn't that bright to begin with. So it's possible that he thought that he approved this. I think that's number one. Two, it's a nod to QAnon. Trump has lost a lot of QAnon lately. He's lost like the conspiracy right because they all now seem to think that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, which I appreciate those of you who are tagging me in those. I'm not willing to like put them online and add commentary to them, but I have seen them. I don't think any of them are super compelling, but some of them are more compelling than others. And three, the third option would be: do you remember when we talked about what was it? The private city in Honduras. What was it called? Somebody remember what that's called? Something stupid. Prospera. Yeah, Prospera. One of the things that they talk about in Prospera, and one of the things that Curtis Yarvin, Mark Andreessen, Peter Thiel, that they've all talked about is like immortality. They've talked about having medical developments that will lead to them being immortal, and they all think that AI will like bring this on. So I don't know why Trump shared this. It's obvious nonsense. He doesn't have like any policy for this. I don't know if this is like his new healthcare policy that he's floating, but the whole idea of medbed hospitals is that they would only be available to the rich, which is him. That fulfills the QAnon conspiracy, and it also goes in line with what the tech billionaires are advocating for. I have no idea why he did this. Look, med beds are real. Med beds. What do you mean by med beds are real? Like, what do you mean by that? I understand there's things called med beds, but when you say med beds are real, what are you saying? That's right. Take her out. That's right, Jen. What do you mean by that? Like, do you think that they have these beds that just like heal people for? Why don't we have people living forever then? How come people are still dying if they're real? Like, how come rich people aren't dying? I'm telling you, they're trying to make human batteries for the AI. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you lay down and regenerate like Wolverine. Okay. What is it? Is it UV? Is it red light therapy? Is that what those red light therapy beds are for in my gym? I don't know what those are for, by the way. If somebody ever wants to explain to me why my gym has like these things that you can stand in for red light, I don't know. I've never seen anybody use one. I don't even know why it's in. I don't know what it does. Nobody at my gym ever uses them, and I wouldn't know what to do if I got in one. You just stand there, live long and prospera. Thank you. Is the QAnon site still up? Are folks really going to the dark web version? Did QAnon have a website? Did they have their own website? I'm looking. I don't QAnon anonymous QAnon. First of all, oh, this is a podcast. First of all, if it's gonna be QAnon anonymous, it should be QAnonymous. That's a missed opportunity there. I don't think they have a website, do they? I don't see one. If there is a QAnon website, let me know. I bet it's magnificent. QAnon is Operation Trust 2.0. Operation Trust? Is this real? Do we have QAnoners here? Oh, that's Soviet Union. So you're saying that you think QAnon is like the counterintelligence? like a okay, maybe. I'll have to look more into Operation Trust. I didn't know anything about that. It's a counterintelligence operation of the state political directorate of the Soviet Union. The operation, which was set up by GPU's predecessor Cheka, ran from 1921 to 1927, set up a fake anti-Bolshevik resistance organization, Monarchist Union of Central Russia, in order to help identify the OGPU, or in order to help the OGPU identify real monarchists and anti-Bolsheviks. They created a front company which was called the Moscow Municipal Credit Association. All right, hey, that's not a bad take. Whoever said that, whoever it was that said that, that's not a bad take. It does kind of make sense. I didn't know anything about that. I'm gonna read more. I'm gonna leave that page up so I can read more about it. Uh, I also Amanda sent this to me, and then I've been tagged a bunch on Twitter for this. Um, but there are there are a bunch of people now. Like the new law went into place in Florida where you can just open carry. Can I show weapons here? Is that against the rules? Like, can you show a weapon? I have no idea. We're gonna find out with TikTok. I don't know. Again, I don't imagine us being on TikTok much longer. Open carry. I think once if China approves the sale, I think we're in trouble. Is this real? There's no way. That's got to be AI generated. That looks AI generated. This is AI generated, right? I haven't seen this one, so that's got to be. Look at their hands. Please be. Duck Dynasty fell off. That's got to be AI generated, but let me find the one I was looking for. All right, it's this video. Turn off the music because that'll be copyrighted. It's just happening in Florida now. Just rolling around, open carrying. My first thought when I saw this, and he's not the only one. There's like other people. My first thought was this is like Grand Theft Auto in real life. Like Florida is just, and then I remembered that the new Grand Theft Auto is actually going to be in Florida. Like it's set in Florida. I don't know if they're like if this was part of the plan. Do you remember seeing the? Can we show the trailer? Do you remember seeing the Grand Theft Auto trailer? Let me see if I can find this. Like. Side by side with what was happening in Florida. Let's see. I wonder if I can find this. Yeah, it looks safe. By the way, if you're another country and you're watching this and you're seeing pictures like this, do you want to like if you saw that if you were going on vacation, wherever you were going, and you saw a video clip of the town you were headed to, and there were people just like open carrying semi-automatic weapons, would you feel safe? Like I go to Mexico regularly and they have like the mounted guns on their police trucks. And it's always unnerving. Like I don't necessarily feel unsafe because I'm hoping that the police there are on my side. But it is unnerving. I can't imagine people from other countries watching this and going, "Let's do this." Shit, I just can't find the GTA trailer, Florida. Yeah, here it is. All right. They use like the real life references. You guys have seen this. Might have to.
Well, look who's back. The only way we're gonna get through this is by sticking together, being a team. Well,
You guys see that? Florida. I like Florida to visit. It is a weird place though. It's a weird place. It's interesting. Like they're so thorough with their video games. I remember going to. I was in Palm Springs for a golf tournament, and I had like a late tee time on a Sunday. I think it was like a Sunday morning. And so I was in Palm Springs. I'm like, I'm just gonna go for a drive. I'm gonna get out. I didn't feel great. I think I had like a fever at the time. And I didn't realize I've played Grand Theft Auto 5. If you guys don't play video games, this doesn't make any sense to you. But if there's anybody that plays video games, let me just show you on the map where I was. I was
We've got new subscribers.
so I was here in Palm Springs out here in La Quinta. I was staying in a house right over here, and I decided to go for a drive. So head down this road, This is actually where they have Coachella. I think Coachella's like somewhere right over here. So, anyways, I hopped on this road and I went down this highway and I started going down. There's this big. It's called the Salton Sea, and I believe it's salt water. I think because there's no outlet, there's only an inlet, so I believe it's salt water. But I was driving and I was like, I'm going to check this place out, and I got down to, is it here? Let me just like, if you've played Grand Theft Auto, you're going to recognize this. Let's go down here. Does this look like anything familiar to you in Grand Theft Auto? Specifically, like right here? That look familiar to anybody? I didn't know that it was like a real place. Got this little town here. You even got like the little main building there with the pool, the bar, the restaurant. Isn't that crazy? Trevor's place, yeah. Like a real place. You can find it. It's Salton City. I forget what they call it there. And if you look at the terrain here, like if you were gonna leave Trevor's place and you want to take the long way back to LA, or I mean the short way back to LA, you would just go here and you would go up and over these mountains, and then you would wind up coming in through the down here into Los Angeles. Up through here. Isn't that crazy? All right, that was a detour. That wasn't Vice City. That was Grand Theft Auto 5. I forget what that one's called. Sandy Shores. That's what they call it. Thank you. All right, I wasn't prepared for that. ADHD on full display this morning. Here's a story coming out that we'll see. This is just a story we need to be aware of, that we need to follow.
The New York financier and his female accomplice have been charged with trafficking women to his Central Park lair to abuse them. And no, I am not talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I'm standing here on 57th Street, across the street from just one of the places where New York financier Howard Rubin has been accused of torturing women for at least a decade. He did so here in a soundproof room filled with electrical shock equipment he called the dungeon.
Warning.
Now, I can see all of you guys going to the comments right now being like, BDSM isn't a crime, microphone man. The way he did it absolutely was. Here's how it went. He would get his assistant, Jennifer Powers, seen here with her DJ husband, disgusting, to go online and find women, many of them desperate and on the verge of homelessness, and promise them cash for agreeing to spend a night in the dungeon. Once they got here, they were given alcohol, and after they were sufficiently inebriated, they would be handed a blank NDA that they had to sign. After they signed that, they were given Valium, so they would basically be out of it, and then taken to Howard Rubin's dungeon to find out what his kink was. His kink is less of a kink and honestly reads more like a Mexican drug cartel level torture. His big thing was electric shocks. Particularly, he liked to tie women to a cross and electrocute their genitals. There was a safe word. If you said it, he just kept going. A lot of women passed out because of this. We confirmed some of this from texts that Jennifer Powers sent to Rubin, saying things like, I can only imagine what you did to her on that cross. Did you shock her? And then he responded with, yeah, of course, and then complained that the electrocution device needs more power. In another text that Rubin wrote talking about a victim, he said, she hates it, but she's so desperate. We've got to make her cry, 3 exclamation points. And in another text, he says, I don't care if she screams, laughy face emoji. This is going to be fun. He did
it didn't do him any favors with that picture. You hear this and it's shocking, and then you see this picture and you're like, oh, I get it. Like, billionaires have too much fucking money. Rich people have way too much fucking money. Like, when you get rich enough that you can create like a torture chamber and then everybody will cover it up for you because you're rich, like, we've got a problem. By the way, this guy deeply connected to George Soros and another guy. Oh, yeah, Scott Bessent. I remember now.
Emoji. This is going to be fun. He did a bunch of other torture stuff. One woman was only able to escape after she slipped out of the restraints and bit him. After the women left, Rubin would tell them that he was going to hire a hitman to kill them if they ever told anyone, or he would try to talk himself out of it. A thing he would do is that he would tell them that RAPE is natural and cite the movie Beauty and the Beast to prove that. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
Remember when Trump was being questioned under a deposition? I think it was during a deposition, and they asked him about E. Jean Carroll, and he like weirdly admitted to the crime. He's like, oh yeah, she said that she loved it, that it was sexy, that our grape is sexy. Remember that? And then everybody, all MAGA just moved on. Like, he didn't just admit that what he had done, that he admitted that he watched her on TV say that, and he was like, well, there's my defense. My defense is that she liked it. Rich people have too much fucking money and too much power, and they're way too protected, and it's getting worse. Like today's episode, I just want you to know that I'm getting through some of this stuff early. Like this is going to suck. Today's episode is absolutely going to suck. If I'm going to being honest, I'm incredibly nervous to even play this episode today. And this is far from the thing that I'm most afraid to play.
Feel like I missed that part. He definitely looks like a beast, so maybe the metaphor works. But Powers was the one who had to do cleanup. He would often get texts the morning after from Ruben that said things like, "It got very rough, Jen. We need to be very, very nice, very important, trust, very important." I think it's very important he goes to jail, but we will see. He was already taken to civil court in 2017 for torturing women, and he's a very powerful man because I've left out this part. He made a lot of money as a portfolio manager for the George Soros investment fund. People aren't going to like that. Prosecutors just say he's a...
They're not. And once again, that ties back to Scott Bessent, which also ties back to Trump. The one of the things about these billionaires that I think it puts us in a weird place all the time where like I have to defend George Soros, which I don't want to do. George Soros has given a lot of money to Democrats, and George Soros has given a lot of money to causes that I believe in. George Soros made all of his money by fucking people over. He's a currency manipulator. The same with Scott Bessent. They got filthy rich destroying countries and destroying currencies and destroying lives. And George, when people call George Soros the boogeyman and when they point to George Soros, I'm fine with that. What's funny to me is that people don't seem to recognize that George Soros and all these billionaires, they're all in the same club. They all seem to like each other just fine. And they all seem to do the same thing. Somehow George Soros was like this boogeyman on the right forever. And they're like, look at these billionaires. They don't care about you. And then Trump came along and filled his cabinet full of billionaires. And you guys are like, these are the good ones. It's actually still George Soros that's the bad one. George Soros has less money than most of Trump's friends. George Soros now has less money than Donald Trump. They're all this. They're all like this. They all do crazy shit, and they don't think the law applies to them. The only reason they're billionaires is because they break the law. Every one of them. Or they rewrite the law so that the law doesn't exist anymore so that they can break it. I think it's high time for MAGA. Like you and I are not going to agree on basically anything. But can we not agree that like the voice of the people needs to be heard again? And can we not agree that maybe we don't put billionaires in charge and then just let them do whatever they want through executive order? It's never worked. It's never a good way for a country to go. Putting a bunch of rich people in charge never, ever, 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 ever works. And what happens is poor people wind up dying. And that's where we're at. A MAGA, whether you're poor or not, like most, like a good part of your party is poor. A lot of MAGA voters are going to keep voting for this shit. Why? Because they scared you about immigrants and they scared you about the woke mind virus. And so you just run around blind with hate every day while they just strip away every right that we have. Billionaires have too much money. Billionaires should not exist. I think Bill Burr recently said, my new take is that I don't care how much money somebody has, but if people in your that work for you can't afford to go see the dentist, then you have too much money and you need to give some of that money back. I've had just like discussions with friends this weekend of like, where do we go? Where do we get? Like, I don't know that like it's going to be an uprising. I don't know if it's going to be violent or not, but it's like the way that this changes is the American people turn not necessarily just on Trump, but on the billionaire class. That's how this all ends. Or we're Russia. Those are those are like the two outcomes. Either we wind up with an oligarchy who pretends that they're running a democratic country, or the people turn. And I'm hoping that you, MAGA, like I'm hoping you guys turn. I don't know why you're still wearing these hats. I don't know which part of what's been going on the last 9, almost 10 months is making America great again. By every measure, we're getting worse. We're more divided. We're less financially secure. We've lost allies. We've become more violent. Now we're moving troops into other countries. We're moving troops into U.S. states. Is this really what? Do you guys really think that like what they'll do is they'll just silence libs and then everything will be hunky dory and they'll go back to the way things were? You're out of your fucking minds if you think that the people in power are going to abuse all of this power just to get rid of the libs and then give that power back and be like, there you go, guys, we fixed it for you, and then bounce. They're not going to do that. They're going to hold on to that power. And money is power. That's why they're going after Chicago. That's why they're going after New York. That's why they're going after liberal cities. Money, power, has nothing to do with crime. Has everything to do with trying to get those people in those cities to look at the federal government as the savior. So when the federal government tries to take over their cities and strip their rights away, they go, oh, these are the good guys. I remember they came in here to try and solve crime. But you'll never get it back. If this regime continues, if you have Trump followed by J.D. Vance or whoever it might be, and they continue down this path, it's just going to be power grab, power grab, power grab. You'll never get it back. You'll never have your country back. The country that they sold you, that they wanted to make America great again, that was all bullshit. The only thing is there just might be like less immigrants and a lot less freedom. Yeah, I'm with you on that, Mara. I'm not going to read that one, but I'm with you. Just a reminder, too, I didn't say this earlier. We are totally crowd-funded. We do have a how do I say this on TikTok? We do have it takes a certain amount of money to keep this going every single day. Just remember, we're crowdfunded. The pay links are above and below. If we knock that out early, join the dollar train. That can knock out our daily gift goal every single day. And if you're over on TikTok, make sure that you're sharing and liking this. And if you can gift, if you can, that takes care of our HR representative, who so far has been able to keep us from going down. Right now, Nunya, goddamn business in the lead with DMC Neil, Cassie, UA Dolphin, and Lisa Michelle rounding out the top 5. Appreciate you guys. Amy Lynn said, we need economic populism. I learned a new term today. Yeah, I like economic populism. Makes sense. When they say things like these politicians just want to divide us, I think sometimes we ignore that because some of the things that we're divided on, I think, are very important things. The rights of marginalized people, that's very important. And we are divided on that. I think the right doesn't believe the marginalized people deserve the same rights as they have. And on the left, we think that everybody deserves the same rights. So I think that's a battle worth having. But we can't ignore the other battle that's happening right now, where they're using all of this to hide the fact that they are covering for billionaires and psychopathic dictators all over the world. Like currently, we have an administration and a president who is openly cheerleading the genocide of the Palestinian people, while at the same time openly doing business with the funders of 9/11, while America struggles. I went this weekend. Like I said, my daughter was gone, and I'm pretty conscious about my budget, but I'm like, I'm gonna go to my local butcher. I'm gonna get a good steak, and I'm gonna just have a steak this weekend. So I went and I got a ribeye steak, just a bone-in ribeye steak. One steak. It was less than a pound. Cost me $26 for one steak that was less than a pound. $26. I don't know how restaurants are going to do this. I don't know what the markup is on a restaurant. So I was thinking about, I've got a good friend who is trying to play professional golf, and he works at Texas Roadhouse. And I know that I've been seeing like things have slowed down for them at Texas Roadhouse, and people aren't coming in anymore. Why? Because like nobody wants a $50 steak from Texas Roadhouse. Nobody wants to pay $35 for a sirloin steak at Texas Roadhouse or anywhere else for that matter. Meanwhile, Trump is getting filthy fucking rich. I'll get to that a little bit later, but announcing even more deals that will make him billion-dollar deals that will make him filthy fucking rich. However, when somebody talked about economic populism, great. We also need more of this. Forever, the Republican Party has been shielded by people who, specifically on the left, who don't want to discredit the LGBTQ community or out somebody or describe somebody's lifestyle in the LGBTQ community in a way that would be detrimental to that community. What we know for certain at this point is that the Republican Party, especially like the media side of the Republican Party, is filled with closeted people. There was a story that broke this last week. We didn't cover it, but Benny Johnson, who you guys love Benny Johnson over there at MAGA. You remember that guy that got paid by Russia that's definitely a paid propagandist and who consistently talks about like how honest and trustworthy he is and how the media are a bunch of liars. He used to work at BuzzFeed. And he got fired from BuzzFeed because he wrote this whole article about, I don't remember who he's accusing. He was accusing somebody of plagiarizing. And that person happened to be popular. So the internet did its thing, and they found out that Benny Johnson had plagiarized like most of his work while at BuzzFeed, and he got fired. And when he left BuzzFeed and got fired, there's not a lot of options for somebody who leaves in disgrace, who shows that they are a journalist who copies work. Like, nobody's going to hire them unless they start talking about like republicanism, unless they're on the right, in which case you've got a home. And so now you have Benny Johnson, who works on the right, who got fired for plagiarism. Members of the BuzzFeed staff who worked with him now are all coming out and saying, Benny Johnson's attacks on the LGBTQ community don't make any sense because I made out with him at a party, a BuzzFeed party. We all we would drink, and I made out with him in a coat closet. And he wrote this whole story, and a day later, all these other BuzzFeed people came out, and they're like, I made out with him that night too. And it's this, like, this happens a lot in Mormonism. There's a couple of, like, really good examples. The kid, who's the Mormon kid that won American Idol? What is his name again? Somebody remind me of his name. Where do you have it? What's it? David Archuleta. Not Clay Aiken. His name's David Archuleta. David Archuleta, from the time he was on American Idol, like, and I lived in Utah at this time, everybody joked that David Archuleta was gay. There were a lot of homophobic things. I'm sure I engaged in that. I'm sure I mocked David Archuleta relentlessly because he was also really popular. David Archuleta, however, was like, I'm going to be powerful. I'm going to be a voice for my faith. And he went on a Mormon mission, and he like wrote music, and he was so inspiring. And about 5 or 6 years later, after coming back from his Mormon mission, he came out as gay. And he's like, well, I'm gay, but I'm going to stay in the Mormon church. That's over with. Like, that lasted about a year. He tried to do both. It lasted about a year. There's another guy. Do you remember? Let me show you this. Do you guys remember a few years ago? In fact, one of the Barstool guys said this the other day about BYU, that they are obsessed with their mascot. BYU's mascot is a cougar, and let's see if I can find this. And historically, like, they've been great. So he went viral for this video. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, bitch. Go Utes. I'm like still a BYU fan, and it sucks. I hate that I'm still a BYU fan. Is this it? I can't help it. I turn it on, and I think I'm going to root against them, and then I just root for them. I still hate the Utes. Did they take this down everywhere? All right. You guys may have to find it. Anyways, BYU's mascot got famous for doing, is it this one? How about? No, it's not that one. What the hell? Have they scrubbed this from the internet? Wild. I actually want to show it now. Anyways, he also recently came out and said he was going to stay Mormon, and eventually he just he leaves the church. This all happens. All of this to show you this video about Mike Johnson.
Hey, here's a message for Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Yeah, the rolly dance guy.
Pay attention, bud. This is for Mike Johnson. If you're not Mike Johnson, you can keep scrolling, or you can stay here and listen to what I have to say. Hey, Mike. You have until Wednesday to swear her in. Wednesday. Or I will release your Grindr profile and your IP address. I bring receipts, bitch. You're not going to sit there and actively work against LGBTQ rights and democracy. It is treason. Yeah, I'm calling you out for treason. You have until Wednesday to swear her in and let democracy take its course, or I will release your Grindr profile and your IP address. Connects both to you, Mike. The choice is yours. Do the right thing. 'Cause I'm petty. And I'm not above this bullshit. Go fuck yourself.
The finishing touches. He's talking about, I forget her name, but the newly elected from the special election congresswoman in Arizona who replaced her dad. Mike Johnson can either put the vote up on Wednesday or he can push it back like until, I think, October 17th when Arizona certifies that result. This puts Mike Johnson between a rock and a hard place, and not the kind of hard place that apparently he likes to do on the down low. Unbelievable. It's time for all of this. It's time for all of the stuff that people know to be released. It is alarming to me how many Republicans in the last 3 years have hinted at telling the truth. Like, remember when Matt Gaetz was in all this trouble and they're like, "Oh, Matt Gaetz, we're gonna release these files on Matt Gaetz, showing that he was a sex predator." And then Matt Gaetz was just like, "I'll tell everybody what I know about you guys. I'll tell you everything." There was that congressman that was in the wheelchair, Madison Cawthorn, who on his way, like, he just brought up that he's like, there's all these parties in Washington where like everybody's just doing drugs and having these wild sex parties. And all the Republicans are like, I've never heard such a thing about that ever. It's time for the stories to come out. It's time for people to stop protecting each other. And I think that we can help with that. I think the Epstein stuff and what Trump's doing, this authoritarian rule that he's attempting now, I think that can help spur some of this stuff on. There are true believers in MAGA. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene. Ironically, like, she's going to be one of the people that we have to rely on because she is a true believer. She might be a true dipshit, but goddamn, does she believe what she's saying? And if you start blocking the Epstein list and you start blocking things that matter to her, I do just think she actually has the courage to stand up against Trump. She's not owned by corporations. I think of everybody in Congress, I think she gets the most grassroots donations, like from individual donors. And then it's like Bernie and AOC next. I'm ready for it. It's time. You gotta take all of these weird ass rich people and powerful people down. And it starts with stuff like this. Somebody asked me the other day, I remember who asked me what I watch. What other like content creators I watch. Not a lot. Most of the research that I do is on my own. Just because I'm aware that if I'm listening to somebody regularly, sometimes I'll adopt their ideas without like doing the research myself. And I want my ideas to come authentically. So there's nobody that I watch like religiously, but if there's somebody that I watch a lot, it's the Majority Report. And that's Sam Cedar and Emma Vigland. And then they have a bunch of producers as well who chime in, who are great. Matt Binder. I wish I could remember everybody's names that work there. But this is a clip from, and it's been edited a little bit, but this is a clip from a show last weekend when they were talking about Ezra Klein. Ezra Klein is a handsome man, and Ezra Klein is a man who's been in the news lately, and he's doing like the let's reach across the aisle shit. And Ezra Klein has some dangerously dumb ideas. And when I mean dangerously dumb, what Ezra Klein and some of these, like, you know, the Richie Torres of the world, what they advocate for is that what Democrats need to do is find a middle ground. They need to stop fighting certain battles and they need to find a middle ground, and so they can bring Americans together. And the only thing that ever does is set Democrats up to lose the next election. And the reason for that is because Americans get no real change. There's just there's not a big change. You can go back to Obama. And ironically, like, Megyn Kelly's out there now talking about how Obama broke them. Republicans are being pretty honest about this, that like having a black president fucked them up. I saw somebody today in a clip I didn't play, but it's this mayoral candidate from Florida who's going to lose badly. Like, he's like third in the GOP primary and he's going to lose. He also has an arrest record, but he's up there and he told somebody, somebody who asked a question about reparations. He's like, your reparations, black people, was that Barack Obama got to be president. So those are your reparations. But every step of the way, Barack Obama was limited by people like Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, who said we have to find this middle ground. The reality is nobody gives a fuck about the middle ground. You know what the middle ground gave us? It gave us Obamacare. And Obamacare, for everything that's wrong with Obamacare, it was better than what we had, but it sucked. And it was a system that was always going to set up to always fail. There was never going to be a scenario where Obamacare worked long term because it was tied to the private health insurance companies. It was moderate Democrats and Republicans who demanded that government health insurance not be expanded. Like Medicare, Medicaid, those should not be expanded. The VA should not be expanded. What you should do instead is if you are going to expand any of those programs, it needs to be a private option, meaning that the government funds need to go into a private company. Because that private company is actually who needs to pay the bill, right? We definitely need a private company to write checks that the government could write themselves. And so we had a situation where health insurance costs were rising at about 6% annually. And after Obamacare, prices rose about 3% annually. They still rose, and now they're out of control again. As they gutted the protections from Obamacare and they gave deregulated the insurance agency, the companies, they all decided that they're just going to raise prices anyways. That's what we get for finding a middle ground with ideas that don't work with a middle ground. Ezra Klein, if you don't know who he is, first of all, I saw so many people say they don't know who Ezra Klein is, and that makes me incredibly happy because I've been under the impression that maybe Ezra Klein has more power than he does or more of an influence than he does. This is Ezra Klein. He's known for I think his book's called like The Abundance. He does the abundance movement. It aims to reduce what it sees as regulatory obstacles to its growth targets in the areas of affordable housing, improved healthcare for the middle class, and improved public works and public infrastructure. This is a guy who has made millions of dollars saying that it's actually regulation. He's a fake progressive. Deregulation of monopolies never fucking works. But he's everywhere. He's on right-wing outlets, he's on left-wing outlets, and he's always this guy that's like, we got to bring things together. Sam Cedar here and Emma Vigeland tear him apart, and I was gonna show the same clip and talk about it, but I just think they do a better job than I would have, and I would probably just be stealing their ideas anyways. So I want to show you this clip.
Look, it is not the left that is picking these candidates, but in Ezra Klein's
Oh, sorry, a little preface. What Ezra Klein said is that the left always picks the wrong candidates, that the left just picks too many progressive candidates, and those progressive candidates lose us races. Raise your hand on the left if you think the problem with us is that our candidates are far too progressive, and that's why we keep losing. Just, never mind the fact that like the most popular politician in the country right now is Bernie Sanders. And maybe AOC is right on his heels. She might even be more popular. Never mind that. Never mind the fact that the only mayoral candidate we're really talking about is the Democratic Socialist. Never mind any of that. Never mind the fact that Bernie Sanders probably would have been president if the DNC didn't cheat him out of winning that nomination. Never. This is wild. Let me know when it's live again. Let me know if you guys can see me.
Hold on, I'm refreshing.
Okay, TikTok says it's back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. I've been able to hear you the whole time.
Okay.
YouTube, let me know if you're back. Okay, YouTube says it's back.
It's back.
I gotta be. I'll start this over. I gotta be real honest with you guys. I am getting to the stage where I'm a bit paranoid. The voice is weird. Jesus. I'm on my internet all day, and it never goes out. My internet only ever goes out when I'm live. It is.
Is there a way you can restart TikTok from where you're at?
No.
Yeah, because you had a chipmunk boy still running on TikTok. Do you want to just restart?